Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today I want to tell you a story about my cousin Zach. This kid, I love this kid. He's full of energy, he's a great kid, and a few years back he came to live with me because he's just kind of, being a kid and getting into some trouble. And so he came, he was living with me, we got him a job where I work. We were trying to get him to go through school and all that. He's getting his wisdom teeth out at this time. We're kind of just taking care of him, and we're really having a lot of fun with him though. And we go down to Las Vegas, and this kid's like a party central. He's always upbeat. He's always wanting to have a good time. So we had a lot of fun, and it was really cool spending time with him. He had a little Saturn Ion. And it was a nice little car for him, but at this time, my twin brother Justin and I had just got our Mach 1s, and so he was drooling over these. He wanted one as well, and so he was searching all over the internet for one. And we had him at college with us. He'd just show up to college. He wasn't going to college, but he'd show up and be looking for him. And he found this dark shadow gray '03 Mach 1. And I'm sitting there laying in bed at home, and he burst into our master bedroom. My wife's taking a shower, so, he runs over to me and he goes, "Check it out, I won this car." And I'm like, "What do you mean you won this car?" And he's like, "I won this car on eBay." And I'm looking down and it says, "You are the highest bidder." And I'm like, "How are you going to pay for this?" And he's like, well, you're going to buy it, and then I'll pay you back. And I was like, oh man. So I started looking the car over and looking at the ad, and I'm like, hey, it's not too bad. It's a Mach 1, and the guy was running 125 shot of nitrous through it, and it had 410s, and I was like, well, if it runs and everything, that's kind of a cool car. Maybe I'll get it back, and it can be a fun project, that kind of thing to work on. So I actually looked the car up on Craigslist and found it there for like $6,500. It had a salvage title, all kinds of stuff on it. 31 spline axles though, really nice built car at least. And the guy started giving me trouble though, because he's like, "Hey, your cousin here hasn't paid me the deposit." And I'm like, "Look, I'll get on a plane as soon as I can and come down and we'll buy it from you." And he's like, "Well, I want the money now." And I'm like, "Look, this is the best I can do. I'm trying to bridge the gap between the two of you and your little negotiations. So just be lucky I'm coming to give you the cash. We'll buy it full price that he bid on and everything like that." So the guy agrees. We run down. I take Justin with me and my wife. And we run down to Las Vegas and jump on a plane. We were almost late getting down there. And so we fly to Oakland International Airport, and it's a fun trip for my brother and me and my wife to tag along and have fun. And my other brother-in-law had crashed his Acura TL, and we found one exactly like it, or he found one exactly like it in San Francisco as well. So we thought, you know what, we'll get down here. Worst case scenario, we drive one of the cars back. So we found a cop in this parking lot. He ran the plate while we were waiting, and he said, "Yeah, it comes back to the guy's name as it says, and everything looks good. It says the car has a salvage title." And we're like, okay, so at least it's legit. So we decided just to get a hotel room that night because he was supposed to show up even though it was midnight, and he never came. We were kind of getting tired of waiting for him. So we went across the street, and we decided to book a hotel room. So this is kind of where the story took a turn for the worst. We wake up the next day. We hadn't heard back from this guy. We're texting him. He's not responding. And so then we call my sister and say, "Hey, so tell us, we're going to go, I guess, go look at that Acura TL, for you and see if it's any good." And she says, "Oh yeah, by the way, we haven't been paid out from the insurance yet from wrecking the other one, so we don't have the money." And we're like, "Oh, great, so there's nothing we can really do." So we decided we'd look at the car anyway, just kind of still waiting to hear back from the other guy, and we needed to know what was going on. But anyway, we finally heard back from the other guy, and he just starts he gives us this stupid story. He says, "Oh man, I wrecked the car last night." And we're like, what are you talking about? You wrecked the car last night? We were talking with you up until, there's no way that you wrecked the car overnight. And he's like, "Yep, sorry, car's gone." And he hung up on us. So I was so mad. We pulled up the Craigslist ad, and that might have been when I actually found the Craigslist ad. It was at that point. And So we're looking it all over, and we get his phone number, and I said, well, I can't call him from my phone or he'll see that it's, from Utah. So we went ahead and called him from a payphone. We had my wife call and just say, hey, I'm interested in this car for my husband, and the area code would match since it's from a payphone, everything like that. And he's like, yeah, I got it, and where do you want to meet? I can show it to you. And I was so mad over hearing that. I took the phone. I probably shouldn't have done that. But I was like, look, this is us. We're the ones who were buying the car in the first place. No need to lie to us. What's the big deal? And he's like, well, your cousin never gave me the deposit. And I'm like, well, that's all between you and him, but I'm the one here right now with the money as promised. What's this about? Is this about the money? And he's like, yeah, I could have got a little more out of it, than the eBay. And eBay, I didn't really get the top bid I wanted, and I forgot to put a reserve on it. I'm like, well, look, we'll meet up with you if and give you whatever it is, the extra $1,000, and go from there. And he's like, okay. And I said, okay, but that means we're gonna rent a car from here. So that means, we're going to invest a lot more money here and time, and I have to either buy a plane ticket to get home now or drive this car home. And he's like, look, we're good. We'll start over. Meet me over at Ross. And he gave us the address. So we thought, okay, we'll go rent a car and we'll drive over to this Ross that's downtown. So we rented a Chevy Cruze and started driving, and it was fun to go across all the bridges, but we're paying all these tolls, and we're like, this guy better not stiff us again. And not to mention, every time he's been talking to us, we've been hearing in the background the car, and we know what SLP loudmouths sound like. We both had those on our Mach 1s. So we get to Ross. We drive up to the top of the parking lot because it's like this little Ross store, and you had to go up to the top for parking. And we waited and waited, and sure enough, we call him back, and we hear him driving the car in the background, and he's like, you know what, changed my mind. And he just hung up. We never talked to him again. So we were ticked off that he did that to us. It sucked really bad. But we decided, you know what, we're here. Let's have some fun in the city. So we went and drove over to the Golden Gate Bridge because we always wanted to see that. So you can see some of these pictures in the background. It was foggy, as is normal with San Francisco. And it was a lot of fun to drive across the bridge and stop and kind of go onto it. We had to at least go on the bridge a little bit, even though we didn't go, walk the whole bridge. But it was fun. It was somewhere that we always wanted to go. My wife, we're trying to schmooze her a little bit because she agreed to all this, and she wasn't too thrilled about the whole idea, but we're trying to at least turn it into a fun time. So it's a beautiful place in San Francisco, and my wife and I would later come back and visit Alcatraz and some other things. But we did have a lot of fun. It was cool weather. So, other than being ticked off at this guy, we were having a good time, and, it was at least an enjoyable place to be. So we couldn't complain too bad. And so we just thought, okay, we'll just sightsee here a little bit, and then we'll go test drive that other Acura TL and see if it at least is a good car. Maybe my sister can come up with the money in the meantime. So being that we both grew up watching Full House, we went to, I think it was called Seven Sisters is what they call these houses, these really nice houses here that you'll see in the background of that TV show. So we went over there and drove around. We listened to the Full House music as we drove the car, just kind of had fun, and went to the park that's right in front of that you see in the opening cutscene of Full House. So it was really a nice place, and like I said, nice temperature, and we were trying to enjoy ourselves the best that we could given the circumstances. So next, of course, we had to go to the actual Full House house that's in the front too, that you always see, and it's just in the middle of the town, in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you think it is. And the house was still there, and all these people kept showing up and taking pictures as well. But we had a good time. And next we wanted to hit Lombard Street since we'd always heard of it.
All right, show us how it's done on Lombard Street.
All right, you got your e-brake up. Start giving it some gas. E-brake down. And that way you don't roll. Because even in an automatic, if you let go of the brake and hit the gas, you're going to roll backwards. So, e-brake up, give it some gas.
Good old San Fran.
I think if I was driving the Mach 1 right now, I'd have to have this up the whole time and just overpower the e-brake each time. Cause
Yeah, that's what a burnout is, right?
Yeah.
Overpowering the back brakes.
Just get an SLP line lock.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wait. Yeah.
Lombardi Street.
There you go. Lombard.
All right. Where Kirby drove.
Yeah. Except for Herbie went like 45 miles an hour when he went down
Did he
this.
really?
Yeah, they probably just sped up the
Look,
camera.
people really like our cars.
Look at the view from here over there.
See, I'm just saying, how do you get home? That's
It's interesting. Look at how the whole road is paved. Like bricks.
Brick.
how do you get?
Paver bricks. Like, there's my house. It's brick. You can imagine where people walking.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's another California Range Rover that lives in there. That just would suck. You would never be able to get your.
That really
back
would
out
be
of that when you're
Yeah.
You're like, excuse
They
me.
get out of
on
there.
your hazard.
Well, you know, they can get out probably easy, but how do you get back in? You gotta wait an hour.
That wouldn't. Yeah, you have to wait an hour just to get home.
It's cool because it's like brick late, you know? It's like
Yeah.
just brick by brick by brick.
It's like you would think with how popular the street is that they would have just done a couple more.
With all the rubber that's been down.
So next we went to the dealership where they were selling the Acura, and it turned out to be a pretty decent car. Kind of hazed up. Also back here looks like it's going to start peeling. But kind of average. Good condition for its year. Pretty clean. Shift smooth into first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and no time for sixth on this road. Steering feels good. I'm sure Josh knows what his was like. Okay, good. Even under load, it's not missing. Seems pretty good. How about the AC, all that? Let's try that. I tried to turn the AC on. That's some kind of auto thing that I
There
had
we
to
go.
do.
AC's on. It's coming out cold right now, but
Yeah, not really cold actually.
is that a one-way? No, you're good.
Did you want to drive it?
You know what? Let's park it and get like a good video all around it without them looking at us. Body looks straight except for the right exhaust pipe. Looks like it's been backed into a pole or something because it's shorter than the other one. Very clean. There is a crease right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's almost like a tap weld or something. Really clean. Everything appears to be working how it should. The interior is really nice. I didn't see any tears, did you? It looks immaculate. Yeah. So, as far as everything else, it's a decent car, especially for its year. So we ended up going back downtown since my sister couldn't come up with the money in time, and rearranged to get some plane tickets home and all that. But we actually went to a Jack in the Box that was downtown,
just a small little one, and we had to really feed the parking meters at that time and everything. But it was overall, it was at least fun. It was a bad situation, and we were trying to at least make some good times out of it. And it was fun to go across all the different bridges. There were double layer bridges where you're driving on the bottom and all kinds of stuff. And so we did have a lot of fun driving and enjoyed the time that we were there. And San Francisco is really beautiful, and you know, Alcatraz and everything that's out there was a lot of fun to see. As well, we only saw it from the road, but we later went back. And anyway, so we got back on the plane, and we were just so tired. My wife took a really funny picture of my twin brother and me. We're definitely twins here, sleeping away. But anyway, that's how that one kind of ended. Zach later went on to buy a Bullet and even a red Mach 1 that was like our other ones. But anyway, it was kind of a funny story. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, guys.